If you're applying for the tech jobs, whether it's an AI, data, or cloud, and whatever the profile might be, whether it's an architect, administrator, developer, technical program manager, project manager, security administrator, DevOps, containers and Kubernetes, whatever the profile might be, if you're applying for the jobs and not getting interview calls, then you might be making one of the 5 mistakes, which I'm going to cover in this video. Also, towards end, I'm going to give you 2 more tips specific to LinkedIn, which you must do so that recruiters and potential employers reach out to you. Now, to give you some context, I run a free class where we talk about how to get a 250K job in AI data cloud in less than 6 months, where also cover a 3-step framework in order to achieve that. And one of the common mistake I get is, hey, I'm applying for the jobs but not getting interview calls. So that's what I'm going to cover in this video. Now, just to give you a quick background, my name is Atul. I have if you're new to this channel, 2.5 decades of IT experience, and I've worked with some of the big clients here in the UK. I'm based in London. So with all the banks, telecoms across primarily in UK and Europe, but also worked in remotely in US as well as in Middle East and Singapore as well. But that's not how I started. I started with earning less than $100 a month and then keep growing and learning new skills, going from earning less than $100 a month to 425 pounds a day to 500, 700, 900. Now are charging in excess of 1,000 pounds a day. So whatever mistake you might be thinking or going through, the phase you might be going through, I've done it myself as well. And the 3-step framework that I mentioned at the start has not worked just for me, but also hundreds of individuals like you. And towards end of this video, I'll tell you how you can get hold of this 3-step framework. Now, as I said, this has worked for someone individuals like SJ, who not only doubled her salary, but also her husband got a job, or Shovik, who got a job as an enterprise architect, or Shrija from struggling in DevOps to getting a AIML job in the Canada, or Hari, who got 2 job offers, or someone like senior like Kennedy, or you're someone like senior like Kennedy who got a job as a senior technical advisor, or you're someone like who want to relocate to USA like Kwame, or Winfred who got a job in Canada, or like someone you might be saying, hey, but I'm new to this cloud or AI or data like Tolu, who now is working as an cloud architect here. Or you might have a career gap, whatever the background might be. There are hundreds of thousands like you who've done and followed the same exact step. But in this video, I'm going to look at the challenges or mistakes that you might be doing and using the same, avoiding by these same mistakes. Someone like Joby who got 2 job offers within 2 weeks, which I'm going to talk about in a minute here. So with that, let's look at how to go from no interviews to weekly interview call. And there are 2 things I just said at the start. First, we need to fix your resume and the 5 mistakes you're doing, and then we'll look at the LinkedIn profile. So the mistake number 1 is that you're using the same resume again and again for different job roles. So let's suppose this is a list here, which is the 4 different job roles like AI backend engineer or AI consultant or AI analyst or tester or governance, AI governance. One thing I've noticed, if not all of them, but majority of the guys who come and I speak to, they're using the same resume for this for the different job roles. So make sure that each job role, for example, in this case, it's in architect for agentic Gen AI, you should be updating your resume as per the job description here. Or if it's a job of consultant in machine learning agentic AI, update your resume based on what an employer is asking the job description. So always, without faking, without lying on your resume, first part or first page of the job or your resume should be tied exactly as per the job description, what they're asking on that. And the later part, you need to show them whether it's a proof of concept, whether some work you've done, or additional project you should be doing. I'll explain you in a minute here how you can do those projects. So make sure that your first page of your resume should be aligned as per the job description, which means you have to spend 1 to 2 hours per job on updating your resume and refining that resume as well. This is another example here for business analyst. If you're applying for business analyst job and this is a job look like, you to update your resume in that. Now for that, you can ask ChatGPT for help. And what you can do is you can submit in the ChatGPT or look at copy paste the job description and say, hey, help me to prepare my resume for the below job role, and you put the country in which that job role exists. Also post your resume and also post the job description, and it'll refine and give you some tips. Now, the mistake, just don't copy paste exactly from the ChatGPT. Update and put those things in your words so that your resume looks more real and authentic as well. So that's mistake number 1, not updating the resume as per the job description and using the same resume. Now, the mistake number two is not making your resume ATS compliant. What I mean by that is application tracking system. What typically happens is that when when a job application comes, each job there might be 50, 100, 200 people might be applying for the jobs. So before that your resume hits to the interviewer, first it goes through the application tracking system, which will rate the resume based on the job description, ranking from 0 to 100, depending on which application tracking system an employer is using or recruitment agencies might be using. It goes from 0 to 100 rating, or 0 to 10, or 0 to 50. Based on that rating, it will say, should we pass it on this resume to a human being or not? So make sure that your resume is ATS compliant. There are some tools available on which are on internet, which are the job portals, which will give you or which will tell you whether your resume is application or ATS compliant or not. So make sure that you highlight or write as much as related to the job description in your resume as possible so that it becomes ATS compliant as well. Now, if you remember, if you're part of a program, you probably already know, and if not, we give a ChatGPT prompt where we make your resume ATS compliant as well. So use that to tailor your resume as per the job description as well. That's a mistake number two. Now, mistake number three is that not or updating the unrelated skills or adding the skills in your resume which are not related to the job description. To give an example, as I said, I interview hundreds of review hundreds of resume on a weekly basis, and what I've noticed is that some people try to stuff, if not all, try to stuff as many skills as they in their resume as possible, even if it's not related. To give an example, when I was reviewing, I noticed that even though job description says an architect role or an administrator role or a technical program manager roles, uh, the they add a skill which they might have done probably 10 years back or 15 years back. Or let's suppose a skill requires architect role and the person has also managed the program. They might write their program management skills, which may not be relevant for that particular job role because the employer is looking for an architect. The minute they say, hey, we have done the project program management, are you more a program manager or an architect? So even though you have some additional skills, unless that's being written on the job description as a requirement, don't write them. Maybe once you go into the job and you can then once you get a job, then you can tell your employer additional skills. Or if you're in an interview and then you notice that, hey, the demand might be also to project manage, then you mention that. So remove any unnecessary skills from the resume. That's mistake number three. Mistake number four is that not adding the relevant project. Or if you have not worked on those similar projects as per the job demands, then at least write down or do a proof of concept and put it on your resume. So take an example. I've put in a screenshot from an agentic AI engineer, which we helped one of our clients or the members inside the program. So the job demands about agentic AI engineer. So what you need to do is either you might have already been doing this as a project. If not, do a proof of concept related to this job description. So what you can do is, for example, this job requires knowledge of LLMs, RAG, LangChain, DevOps, containers and Kubernetes. So do some project that have this kind of a job or uh, covers the project related to the job description as well. So and then add in your resume as in relevant project, at least as a proof of concept if you can't show them where exactly you've worked. So in this case, maybe a create a legal research assistant, which is a multi-agent RAG system. Now, if you also notice, the job also demands something you've done, AWS Lambda, which is functions, or S3 storage. Show some projects which are relevant to the job description and bring those in your interview calls as well. When the employers see that you've already done those works, then they are much more open to pick your resume as well. Now, in our agentic AI program, we cover these multiple projects like that. Depending on whether part of AI, data, or cloud, we give relevant project so you can put in resume as per the job description. Also, we can help you with respect to respective projects as per the job description demands as well. Now, another example of this is an example of cloud and DevOps job when an employee is looking for Azure Kubernetes service. So what you need to do some hands-on work on creating a Kubernetes cluster on Azure Cloud, which is AKS, or something similar if you're doing an AWS, the job demands about AWS. Something similar is EKS, which is Elastic Kubernetes Service. So what you should be doing is that first and most important, based on the job description, understand a little bit about that particular what that job demands. So in this case, containers and Kubernetes. So have some fair understanding of what a container and Kubernetes are. Similar to that, if you have an agentic AI, in this particular case, you're doing agent. So what is an LLM? What is an RAG? How do you implement RAG and LLM? How does Docker and Kubernetes work? Because you're deploying your agents or AI models on a containers and Kubernetes based applications. So understand those. Then in this case, the job demands about containers and Kubernetes on Azure Cloud. So you understand Azure Container Registry, Azure Container Instances, Kubernetes services, Azure Kubernetes Service. In AWS, something similar like EKS, ECS, and Azure sorry, the container registry on AWS cloud as well. Then go and create an instance of containers and Kubernetes on Azure cloud, AWS cloud, and then do some projects, deploy the application, do the storage, networking, security, all sort of work, hands-on labs, and put in your resume as an in your resume as that you have done those projects. So these are some of the projects relevant to Kubernetes. For example, create a containerized application, deploy, do a CI/CD implementation of Kubernetes cluster as well. This is just an example, too relevant in your case as per the job description as well. This is some of the projects we recommend for Azure Kubernetes Service or similar to on AWS Kubernetes as well. And then prepare resume based on which is focused on this particular job role as well. So that's mistake number 4, which is the uh, not putting the relevant projects so that you can so that employers believe that you have done that those kind of work or not. And the fifth and final part about, and after that I'm going to give you the 2 tips as well about LinkedIn. So the fifth part is that not doing the follow up, which is very very important. Now what I follow up is maybe by the email or through LinkedIn, the potential employers or recruiters who for which you're submitting your resume. So the follow up, how do you do the follow up is when the job description, most of the time below the job description, if not all, but at least 70% of cases I've seen that they put their name of the person, concerned person, and the company for which. So in this case, for example, Steve Daly, and who's from the job portal, and the company as well as a proactive, I think it's a SR2 social responsible recruitment agency they are. So what you can do is you can go to LinkedIn and search for that particular name in that company. There's a high potential that you should be able to find out that person. Now in this case, I've gone to LinkedIn and search for Steve Daly from the SR2 recruitment here in the UK. The next is then you can prepare a message. You can ask ChatGPT these days, or you can write a humanly possible message on this particular case, and then reach out to them. Do a follow-up via the email. If you can extract that email from the LinkedIn, if you are on LinkedIn, they should be able to display their emails. If not, message on the LinkedIn itself and say, hey, I've submitted the so-and-so requirement. So submitted my resume based on this job description, and give them why they should be picking you over others as well. So that's step number 5. So these are the things that if you follow this, there's a high probability that you will start getting interview call. This is what exactly happened for Joby, who's moved from US to Australia. And even though he had some knowledge, but he was struggling to get interview calls. And once we followed these tips and given him also how to update his resume, as per the job description, he's not only started get interview calls, but got a job offer as well in 2 weeks, moving into Southern Australia, where jobs are very, very limited. Now, similarly, Foyong got a job within a month in Azure Cloud. Another one, Roni, at least if not, you will start getting confidence in this case and saying that I've started resume on LinkedIn profile, which I'm going to cover in a minute. I've started that I'm very, very hopeful that I'll start getting interview calls and land a job soon as well. Now, that's resume. Now, second important thing is if you've done everything which I mentioned in the resume, next part you should be doing is LinkedIn, which is very, very important. And there are 2 parts in LinkedIn. Part number first is that your profile should be optimized as per the job description that for which you're applying for. So there are 13-point checklist we give, out of which 3 are very, very important, especially headline, summary, and your experience as well. So make sure your profile, especially the headline or the title image, as well as the title headline below that, build an authority for you saying that you're the right person for that particular job role. So example here, headline, rather than writing a simple headline, you write and say cloud architect or AWS certified or transforming business or AI ML enthusiast. You should be selling yourself and say why you're the right fit for as well. About section also should have a good hook and a story, and then call to action, how they can reach out to an employer, reach out to you also. Also important, again, read this out. I'm not going to go deeper, but we go and help you with all these things. The profile picture looks important, not that important, but but it's also given you know, a good, put a good headshot photo on your profile. But other things important are the skills endorsement. How you can get skills endorsement? Reach out to the previous places where you worked and ask, simply ask. And trust me, when you start asking, also give your colleagues or former employers what to write in your skills and endorsements. And if you ask, definitely you'll get those recommendations back as well. So if you this is an example of Debashish Dash. Have a look at that in and see how his profile image is. Let me see if I can make it slightly bigger. And in this case, if you see now here, the image is a little bit blur, but if you see now his LinkedIn profile, if you see, this is an example case which we picked up and we trained. And if you look at, he was working on Oracle earlier, on Oracle, and then with that he also learned Microsoft Azure Cloud. So if you look at his profile, immediately looking at the image, LinkedIn, so on the LinkedIn image shows he's an expert in Oracle as well as Azure. And you go and look at his profile as well. Now we help in images creating, and you can simply create these images, background images, using Canva. And if you're part of the program, we teach you how to use Canva images and so on. Or you can get hold of these images like that on the for the background. Also look at his profile. How does his profile look good as well? So this is what exactly I say. And when you start doing and following, this is a very simple given a tip I've given, but Michael followed the same step. I did this step and started getting in lots and lots of emails from potential recruiters and employers as well. So that's another one which probably might be helpful for you. Another one from Prashad here, that got a call from great companies on LinkedIn. And after changing my LinkedIn and resume, I started getting recruiters reaching out to me and full stack and offering 240K, 1,000 jobs as well. So that's step number one, making sure a profile on LinkedIn looks good. Second thing is you should build an authority on LinkedIn. And what I mean by authority is when someone comes to your LinkedIn, that happens. Typically what happens is, if your resume is good, with the way we mentioned to you, if you follow that, the recruiters, after looking at resume, before scheduling the interview or just before having the interview call, they will look on your LinkedIn profile. And the LinkedIn profile should make you as an expert, as an authority. So there are two parts. One is the content posting, which will be posting on a regular basis, which I'll explain you in a minute how you can do that. So there's a long form and a short form. And if either one is fine, if you don't have time, short form is good. Just give some tips on a if not daily basis, at least one to twice in a week, write a good content related to what you're implementing, what you're learning. We give this tip to everyone in our program. When they do the hands-on lab, we tell them not do just hands-on lab, but write or project. When they do the project or hands-on lab, write as an authority saying that they're doing some work. To give an example, in this case here, Joshua said today up. So we were doing a lab of billing and budgeting on AWS Cloud. So you write a problem statement. Don't simply say it, hey, I did a lab of billing and budgeting. Write down and say, hey, today one of my clients reached out to me. They had a billing challenge and they got just an email from AWS stating their price is very high, or there's a bill ready. So how you fix that problem by setting a budget and alerts. This is just one example. You can take an example of S3, or you can take an example of create an agent and say, we are facing this problem. This is how I help to client build agentic workflows or AI or machine learning, or build some data pipelines, or implement so and so on cloud and so on. So build an authority so that when 90% of the both resume and interview is being sold much before you go for interview call as well. So build an authority on LinkedIn, very, very important as well. And if you follow this, what I'm talking about, trust me, it works. Here's another example of Amol in saying that um, with updating my resume and preparing the interview questions and tailoring to the job description, now it has boosted my confidence in my job search as well. It make me made me feel well prepared and given the motivation to apply, and refining my experience to align with the potential roles has been invaluable. I'm much more enthusiastic and optimistic applying for the new opportunities, and the help in my resume profile has been shortlisted for two organizations and screening stage as well. And we see you will definitely start noticing an examples of like that. This is another one which I mentioned, Shrija from DevOps to AIML, struggling, marketing my profile. Marketing is very, very important. Marketing my profile, focusing on my resume, building LinkedIn profile customization, and sharing the insights on AIML tool. And so she was sharing insights on AIML tools on her LinkedIn profile, on practical works. These strategies help me and huge role in attracting the potential recruiters as well. So another one examples here you see. So if you thoroughly enjoyed and liked this video so far, and if you want to know how to get a 250K plus job in AI, data, and cloud, these are three domains we cover in less than a 6 months. Even if you're a beginner on any of these things, we help you in getting. So as I said, we begin, look at cloud, underlying cloud infrastructure, on top of the data, on top of that AML. You can go in either one of them or all three of them, depending on the amount of level you are, how many experience you have. We also help with ML ops, data ops, DevOps, and so on. If you're interested, as I said, I cover a three-step framework going from not confident, super confident to apply, not getting interview calls to getting multiple interview calls. And then once you start getting interview call, from no job offer to multiple job offers, we cover this three-step framework. If you're interested, you can, below this video, there'll be a link to book a call with my team. Make sure that you submit the form on that. There's some set of question answers. So first, book a time and slot. It's a 45-minute call. We understand a little bit about you, but on make sure that you fill the form. There'll be a form to fill. Make sure you fill the form, because we are not for everyone. Also, I want to make sure that we handpick and select who's the right fit to work with us. So make sure that you fill correctly, and especially important point is LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn, I would highly recommend you to create your LinkedIn profile. Important thing is, and so once you go, look at some of the case studies on how we have helped on others on this page as well, of hundreds and thousands like you who are in the journey, because I was once there back in 2007, 8, 5, 7, and then after every few years, I've done all this myself and helped hundreds and thousands of individuals like you, like Yash, cleared 6 interviews here. Daniel, job offer in Irving, Texas. Another one, Adnan here in the UK, was made redundant to becoming an Azure data engineer. Vaishali in India got a job within, I think, 30 days. Another one, Shruti, secured a job as mid-senior level. Sean accepted a cloud job architect role in the US. James, um, super grateful to fund them to help. You can never go wrong with us. Another one here in India got an L&T job as a program manager. Or Yunus, first failed interview, flop, but second and third company interviews went well. He's expected. Proud to say he got a job after that as well. Nazif, I've joined Keton Academy, received my job offer in late in September, within a couple of months here in last year. Another one here, James, I've already mentioned. What Naman, uh, on here. Srinivas worked on and helped, not only help him, but now he's taking help to run his team and managing the multiple projects on $1 million projects as well. And we have tons and tons of success stories like that. First round of interview, Vivek, Omar, Oksana, Obina, Dinesh. I can go on and on right from. If you're interested, check this link below uh, on this to book a call with my team, and can't wait to help you. I hope, let me know about those five tips I've mentioned about LinkedIn, on which one do you liked on most related to the 5 projects. Just to do a quick recap, mistake number 1, as I said, is don't mistake number 1 is don't use the same resume. Spend the time and update your resume as per the job description on here. Make sure your resume is ATS compliant. Make sure that you are not adding irrelevant skills, only the skills that as per the job description write down, so that your resume is crystal tight as per the job description. Make sure you add the relevant projects on which is very, very important. How you've helped clients on similar to this job their employers asking on that. And the fifth and final part is about uh, on here, make sure that you do a follow-up with the potential employers or recruiters, as I mentioned, through LinkedIn or through the email ID. And 2 things which is about LinkedIn, optimize your LinkedIn, especially the 3 key points, and then also post in your LinkedIn as an authority, build an authority like Joshua did. With that, this is Atul from Team Keto Academy. Thanks for watching this, and do let me know what additional videos you want to see. I'll keep posting on a weekly basis. Take care and bye for now.